Welcome to Beyond a Happy Marriage. I'm Arkadiusz.
And I'm Monika.
If you are striving for something deeper than just a happy marriage,
if you want a relationship that's truly transformative, that leads to intentional living,
then this podcast is for you.
We are absolutely delighted to bring our conversations to English-speaking couples around the world.
Today is International Coffee Day, but we won't be talking about varieties or roasting. Rather, we'll be talking about something more important: how a cup of coffee can be a foundation of a happy marriage. Have you ever wondered why some marriages stay close over the years whilst others grow distant despite living under the same roof? The answer might be in something as simple as coffee. Monika, for me coffee is a morning ritual, but if I know for you it's something more, can you tell me what coffee means to you?
Well, for me, coffee isn't just a drink, a warm, delicious drink that provides caffeine and a bit of a boost. It's primarily about creating a space where I can open up in peace. That's why it's so important for me to drink coffee when there is a bit of a quiet, especially when children have already left the house for school. And then I can open up to my husband, strengthen our emotional bond, and simply enjoy that moment. It's not always daily, but it's become a marriage ritual of some kind.
So it's not just the taste, but also a social and meditative aspect. You could say a time of peace.
Yeah, exactly. I really love that time in our marriage, and it extends to other social spheres as well, with other married couples or simply with friends who need support at various stages of their lives.
Today we will share about the everyday joys of marriage, not just coffee, but in general, what marriage rituals can help us build a happy marriage.
Yeah, but I wanted to mention something about coffee itself. Men and women metabolize this drink, especially the caffeine in it, in quite different ways. Men do it faster, women a bit slower, and women do it differently on different days of their cycle. For example, studies from 1992 showed that women metabolize or break down coffee faster in the follicular phase, before ovulation, and do it more slowly in the luteal phase, after ovulation. This means that in the second phase, if a woman drinks coffee at 3 p.m., for instance, she might have trouble falling asleep. So then I suggest a different drink. Perhaps lemon balm with a bit of a ginger or lemon itself.
So women should adjust even their coffee to their cycle?
Yes. Coffee breakdown is something that has genetic conditioning, but also purely physiological. So the same woman, the same coffee, but at different time in the cycle, and the effects can be quite different.
That's very interesting. And you mentioned good memories associated with drinking coffee. What have been the most important ones for you?
For me, the most important are our marriage coffee times when the children aren't home. But I also remember the very good time in Women's Village when we used to meet up after the birth of our children to drink coffee. But coffee was really just an excuse. It was more of a support to each other, because obviously a birth of a child is a significant time in women's life. And I remember the very good moments when I met more mums when my children started school, and the support that we could give to some mums in difficult times, especially those that were chronically ill. Okay, so what does social coffee drinking mean to you?
Well, first of all, those experiences you were talking about are great because coffee in those situations became not just a drink, but also a ritual for you and more of a friendly meeting to bond between friends. I think that in marriages we should develop such daily rituals, especially in our home sanctuaries. And we were going to mention those rituals, right?
Yes, but I also wanted to add that when it comes to social coffee drinking, there was also our family strengthening because we very often had coffee meetings with families. We'd meet as families and then we'd drink coffee together. The children would run around, and it was also this sharing of marriage experiences. Not just typically women's, but also more marriage family oriented. I think that was great support for us in raising our children, especially our boys, because we also had perspectives from raising children of a different gender, girls, but also other children. So parents of teenagers shared their wisdom with us. So really, coffee drinking, that space is very, very broad.
It's more of the meeting itself, isn't it? We sit, we talk, we share experiences, and as you say, it's not just between women, but men also talk among themselves, and it's like a reason to meet as well, right? So because come over for coffee, it's just a reason to meet, not that you even necessarily have to drink coffee during that time. It's just sometimes you just drink a tea or beer in the UK, but it has this social aspect and its proactive aspect or to meet and have that common space for meeting. I was wondering about those rituals, whether it's about the size of the ritual, how it's organized, or more just about it being regular. For example,
Yeah, I think it's about it being regular above all and intentional, not just automatically. So it doesn't become just a dry routine, but something done with intention, something we nurture and intentionally propagate further in our family. I always think with joy about moments of drinking coffee together, but also with joy about other moments in our family life. And one of them is, for example, our morning blessing. We don't always have time for a full family morning prayer together, but there is always a blessing of spouses and a blessing of children, always before leaving the school.
a bit of tradition, I could say, right?
Yes, may God bless you and keep you, always before leaving to school. And those words of a father and mother over their children, so very important. A sign that they are so very important to us, and that we always ask God the Father to bless them.
For them, I think it's also an awareness, a sense of predictability, a security that something happens after always, at every time, and it's like an anchor point for that security we mentioned.
Yes, I think it's also stress reduction before the day, an emotional regulation. There is something that's always there, and parents are in it, and they feel safer and less stressed before whatever they will encounter at school.
Okay. Well, you already mentioned blessings, so I thought maybe we could also mention evening prayers then.
Definitely. Evening prayer is the second moment of spiritual support in our family, and here we have more space. It takes us a bit longer, I would say about 15 minutes sometimes.
Because we need to give everyone a chance to speak, to thank for everything that happened during the day.
Yes, it's like a calming down moment, a landing before sleep. We're together, we're in a circle, we're very close to each other, like we touch, so there is physical touch. And then there is that space for everyone to say what good thing during the day they would most like to thank for.
I was just thinking that we actually remember such moments from our childhood too, somewhere where there were those nice moments when we were together as a family, where we felt very safe. It was warm and quiet. Together in a family circle, those times. It's important to try to give more of that to our children, because I have such memories, but I don't remember too many of them. However, I would like my children to have these memories very much engraved. The security they felt in the evening, that meeting together, and feeling that parents and family, we are together.
Yes, I think it's very important that children don't treat prayer so automatically. Like, well, I have to tick this off now, but rather as unity, common time, and thanksgiving to God for all those tiny things we have. And then at the end, we hold hands and say the Our Father, probably the only prayer that our children know somewhat. Although they don't always join in. Our prayer isn't so picture perfect because sometimes we have some conflicts. Someone doesn't want to speak at all, so they leave. We allow that too, so we don't force anyone if they don't want to. And our younger son isn't always so patient. He needs to jump up and down a bit on bed as well.
Yes, he has a lot of energy still unused from a day, so sometimes he still needs to jump. But what's important in all this, I think, is that it's consistent, joyful moment of our day. And what's important is that we're teaching them gratitude. We are teaching them to be grateful for what they have, because we don't always have what we want to have, but we can simply enjoy what we have at the moment.
Yeah, and such a reminder that all of this is the good that God gives. And through this, we are creating basis for a domestic church, a sense of community, which they will obviously develop later in the church with other people. But it's also about feeling that you meet God by being with people, being in church, because the church is made by people, not just by building, right?
Let's now talk about other joys of our daily life. One of those constant elements of daily joy we have, for example, my wife's specialty experiments.
Oh, yes, I love it. My daily joy is cooking. Actually, for some ladies, I know it's a hustle, but I approach it professionally. I'm a scientist. I like to experiment, and cooking, the kitchen, is like a small lab with safe things in it. I'm not extracting any DNA at the moment, so I do other experiments and create experimental pancakes for my family. For example, from different flowers, sesame or amaranth.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, and they eat them. For me, it's showing kindness to my family, serving them with joy because I like this play. And I'm very happy when other family members join in.
Yes, we are engaged as experimental guinea pigs.
Yes, but the point is that a meal is about being together. We sit down for a meal together. We as community, we create some unity. And everyone serves as they can in that moment. But I know you also have other joys in your life, isn't it?
Well, for me, being together, this presence is not just a meal, but also other aspects of our day. Because it can be, for example, a walk, or picking up children from school, or sitting together. The point is to feel each other, to feel each other's presence. We don't always have to interact with each other right away, because it's simply about the child, for example, feeling that dad and mom is nearby and that they can always come and talk.
I like those moments in the evening after 6 or 7 p.m. when we're trying to have the children wind down from playing so that everyone does their last thing, some tea or hot chocolate in the evening as the last whistle of the day.
Yeah, but I wouldn't forget about activities during the day, like walks coming back from school, or picking up children from school, or joining bike rides. For us, cycling is a huge joy now, because in England we were living for a very long time. There wasn't as much possibility for bike trips. But there is a small Polish village. It comes very easy to us. We go out and the gate and we ride. And besides, the mushroom season has started now, so every walk brings some joy of at last one mushroom brought home.
Yes, exactly. Physical activity is also very important. I also treat it as time for myself, like 10 minutes of some physical exercise and listening to God's word is enough for me to recharge, at least a little, before the day, and then give more of myself to marriage and family.
Yes, because it's also about stopping the rush. I think in England it was like we were very often rushing after various things, activities, for example. And My wife really likes when I read scripture, the word of today, to the children in the morning.
Yeah, I like when Arek reads to children, but actually I feel he's reading scripture to me. And the children are just like doing their thing, like running around.
Running around, sometimes shouting a bit, jumping, but they are present. I hope at least one word gets through to them.
Children have their moments. Today, for example, our oldest son amazed me because he was very proactive today. He came to me when I was making experimental breakfast pancakes and said that he'd already washed up, made all the bed, his own, his brothers, and even his parents. And now he's ready to help and is opening a restaurant. And that was such a beautiful manifestation that he wanted to serve others.
Certainly, it was also his need to feel important, but at the same time to give himself to others. And I think we notice that because children don't always show interest, but we saw God gives the growth.
Yeah, and noticing that the good in our children. Because sometimes I have those moments when we're trying to teach something or help children pray, and they just jumping and shouting there. But somehow they absorbed it and indirectly learned this gratitude for any small gestures or of kindness in our daily life.
And learning to see every time the good that someone gives us, to notice it, because it's very important to also learn to show that you see other initiatives at home. I guess we can summarize what connects all these small joys we have mentioned here.
Well, I was thinking, what did we notice? We noticed regularity, that daily, not just sometimes, but to care about at least one such ritual that repeats daily. That's one thing. You don't need grand gestures or big things to organize. Simplicity is enough, but it needs to be done consciously, right?
Yes.
And everyone should be engaged in these gestures or gratitude, noticing good, enjoying what we've received. So what worked for us, Arek?
I think primarily morning coffee, the two of us. What that morning coffee gives me is a possibility to summarize what we prepared for today and what we still need to do today. Another thing is morning and evening prayer.
I think these are constant moments where we make sure to be together, at least for a few seconds. Sometimes we don't manage morning prayers, but it's important to at least give the children an angel prayer and bless them in that moment.
And that's already some moment of parents' presence for them.
Yes. I think for a start, it's worth choosing one ritual, a simple one, either morning coffee or tea, depending on the cycle, maybe some walk, even a very short one. So what's important is regularity, not the size of what we choose.
Because we are really an example that it doesn't have to be perfect, because we have a very imperfect life, and simply any regular, simple.
Yeah, what's a perfect life?
Yeah.
Yes, and you need to combine it with all conversations.
That space, not such moving, not much striving for conversation itself, but about giving space for sharing, giving space to hear the other person's needs.
And if you have small children, all the more you must find time just for yourselves. And that's very necessary.
We take advantage of the children being at school.
Well, or in the evening, when the children are already asleep.
Exactly. So we encourage you to choose one ritual for this week. Do it daily for next 7 days.
And then see how it affects your bond, your family's functioning.
And if you like to share this in the comments, we'll be very pleased.
Well, for me, it would be very interesting to hear how you cope with these rituals, what you choose for this time.
at least to try, because it's not about getting nervous that it didn't work out, but what you tried.
Yeah, because it starts with trying.
Marriage isn't about these grand gestures once in a while or some trip to who knows where from some holidays, but these small daily gestures, but consistent, such acts of love.
Like morning coffee, blessing, or simply shared presence.
Okay, before we finish, I want to encourage you to explore these topics more deeply. Go to our previous episodes, you will find practical tools there that you can start using right away in our marriage.
And you can visit the blog, because on the blog we try to complement all the things that are in podcasts, but also completely new ones that are sometimes too technical for a podcast and easier to read. So you'll definitely find more health-related things there, or more understanding of how hormones work, for example, or things about natural family planning. I encourage you here to read the latest blog about coffee, because of course we have Coffee Week. We are coffee people, so coffee, women's metabolism and how it affects in which phase woman is. So if anyone wants to know more, you can read it there too.
And we invite you to the comments, share with us, tell us what works in your marriage.
Maybe tell us how many coffees you drink during the day. Well, too many, too few, or maybe just enough. I drink 2 a day, and I think it's probably the maximum. And you?
Well, thank you for being here and for all the comments, because we are building this community together and your voice matters enormously.
Yes, until next time, build your beautiful, intentional marriages. Bye.
Bye.